Hello, hi, and welcome back to another episode of SK Talks. I've done 3 episodes of the SK Blood series, and I'll be doing another 3 at some point, and I am looking forward to doing another SK Learn series. Probably going over the old file of the Copeland OS boot up and talk about that. That's at least what I'm currently thinking as of now. Though overall, I think I wanted to list a kind of agenda on stuff that I wanted to talk about and some things that I kind of want to mention for a little bit in the course of this SK Talks episode. So, I have been working on my Linux machine. Yeah, I haven't talked about this that often, but I think I've mentioned it a few times or another infrequently as a kind of subtle tie-in a lot of my videos, but I am running a Linux machine not as my base computer that I use to do all the editing. DaVinci Resolve just doesn't work well with Linux that much. I'm thinking on doing a virtual workstation idea in the future, but I don't even have enough money for that, so I'm not going to bother. That's going to be like probably an annual idea, probably in a year or two. I have no knowledge on whether that would even be achievable. But I've been running into some problems with that. Errors, just general glitchiness. I think when I tried to transfer some files over, it just bugged out completely, and it was kind of annoying. I think I'm going to transfer some of the recordings that I have on my phone to this, and you'll be seeing some of the stuff going on right now. I think I understand what the problem is. I think there's a disconnect between the software, and it seems like this is something that happens with a lot of Acer computers, but it only suddenly started happening now after I began transferring tons of files over. But yeah, that's stuff that I'm running in with. But overall, that Linux machine, even though it's running an Acer Aspire, I think it's 592 something, one of the older ones, it's running an old Pentium, no numbers added to it, just basic. It is manufactured during 2011, so that's a thing. But it's been pretty good. This is the first problem that I've ever ran into with it. But yeah, no. I think it's been doing pretty good for a kind of test system. I've been using it to watch shows and stuff and use my headsets and hook those up to the audio jack just to listen to some videos that I like to watch. But I've been using that to do some basic browsing. That's going to be kind of the test for me doing a lot of more system management stuff, figuring out how to transfer files over, just learn Linux a bit. And overall, hopefully, when I move to that as my base system, I know some of the problems to deal with. And that's mainly what this Linux machine, this Linux laptop's meant to kind of help me achieve. It's teaching me the basics, basically, and letting me get used to the system before I transfer over to it and move completely. But I have no idea on how I'm going to exactly do that. A lot of the stuff that I want to test out just aren't able to be done with the current computer that I actually have. It's just too old to where it can't run a lot of the editing and a lot of that stuff. I'm not even going to bother with it. Mostly this is just to watch shows, mess around with the actual environment and see what I can mess with. Because all the other stuff I'll always have to mess with at some point in the future. So overall, that's just the general idea for the Linux machine. The second thing that I wanted to actually talk about was the next few installments of my videos that I have, mainly stuff like SK Learn series, the Blood series, and all that stuff. If you noticed recently, I've been going into more shorter form content. I'm not doing that much animation, like actual traditional animation. I want to get better at that, but overall, what I've been mostly focusing on is the effects and compositing after that. I think what I'm going to do is kind of slow some stuff down a bit, and I want to try to maybe focus on a little bit of other stuff, mainly just because it's kind of hard to do the stuff that I'm doing right now. There's just stuff that I don't know how to process the planning of currently, and overall, I'm trying to get a lot of ideas in my head on what would work with the current schedule that is currently non-existent, but I'll have to have in the future with on how much time I should dedicate to this channel or just in general to the videos and projects that I have in mind. If anything, overall, I'm just still trying to figure out really what my scheduling is. I've noticed that I've been uploading mostly at 3 a.m. For the animations. Maybe that'll be the thing. But I don't know. I'm still figuring out scheduling. They schedule in YouTube, the ability to schedule videos has been very useful for me. That's one thing that I noticed. But overall, mainly, that's the stuff that I'm currently thinking about. And now I want to kind of talk about some stuff that I kind of want to add add in, maybe. Just general ideas that maybe could become a potential thing that I do, just overall to see what kind of comes of it. Let's plays. Should I do let's plays? I'm not that much of a person that has done gaming, but overall I thought maybe if I had something kind of like take breaks on me doing animations and stuff. I've seen a lot of artists kind of mess around with games. I may not really stick to that. I don't know about that. Overall, I was thinking maybe I could like spend an hour on a game and just kind of play it and see what I can do with it. And maybe that'll be an interesting experience, but overall, I have no idea if that would work. Mainly for me, I've mostly been always focused on artwork. When I originally started doing digital drawing, that kind of removed me from playing a lot of video games to now where if I can't play an FPS shooter, I get nauseous. It is insane, but I've always thought maybe if I decided to try to go back to that and try to see if that would work, maybe just one simple long play of a game that's like Sandbox or something. Minecraft, I don't know. The biggest issue for me on that end was mostly wondering of whether it would be appropriate or not. You know, like with all the stuff that I do as an artist, the things that I used to draw, I just go like, that game has been predominantly kind of owned and domained by like children. You know, like I don't think that me as an artist with the stuff that I've created would be the best suit for that. I don't know. I have no idea. So that's kind of maybe a really sudden like shower thought of like, hey, that would maybe be a good idea. And then once I get into it, I go like, no, I don't like it. So I don't know about that. Second thing would maybe another kind of animation block where there's just miscellaneous animations. Stuff that's not related to the Blood series at all, just random tangents that are just odd. So like if I want to do like a general test, I can just add that general test into the miscellaneous animations playlist, and then that would be a separate area to go place some of the animations that I don't really know would work with the Blood series. That's one of those ideas that I was thinking about, but that's pretty much for your guys' input, because I understand that this is a personal channel and overall I have like full creative authority on what I want to do, but I'm still interested in input to maybe help benefit me in some way on how to figure out how to kind of streamline stuff. That's always something that I think would be helpful. Just wondering about that. Would some sort of like world that I create in a video game or something, or some sort of other playlists that I can add to talk about stuff, would those be interesting? I'm just wondering. I think third thing of this like kind of questioning that I have is any sort of things and tips on how the SK Learn series should be done. I was thinking on going either back to me just having a screen recording with OBS and looking at the node graphs and having that, or having a mix of just pure motion graphics. The motion graphics stuff took a pain in the butt to edit for the previous SK Learns episode. It was not that fun. It was cool to learn, but I just wanted to really get it done and I rushed over with it. It was not fun. And that's really not the way that I kind of want to handle that. I've had some ideas. Oh, I never actually mentioned this, but originally my main plan for the SK Learn series was to kind of have like moments where it's similar in the OBS, just going over the node graphs and explaining stuff. But then there's going to be like segments of animation where it involves like the character that I use to speak through, the proxy character that I have designed. That one, and kind of go over the story and lore of the Skorsen channel in quotations. I always thought that would be kind of an interesting kind of like cool thing to add in, kind of have some sort of like lore involved into the channel. That I thought was interesting and would have been kind of a cool idea. I'm still trying to figure out the technical aspect that involves me being able to actually do that. And if I want to start that, I want to do it the best way possible. So that's going to probably take some time to even get involved. And do you think that that would be a good idea? It'd definitely be unique, and it'd be kind of cool to try to see if that could work. But that takes a lot of working in to try to figure out on how to get that to actually function correctly where people don't get bored or don't decide to watch the video. So overall, just wondering about that, if that sounded like an interesting idea, because that was the original concept. But if those things sound interesting, I'd like to see some input on that and kind of get a general idea on what I should kind of be seeing to focus on. If people like seeing the Bloodseer's animations, I'll continue to focus on those. What level of insight or things have interested you in the process of me making these things, to see on how to move forward with some of the stuff that I'm creating. But yeah, that is all that I have for today in this episode of SK Talks. But overall, I think I may do another SK Talks episode, maybe kind of like a post-mortem, talking a little bit more in depth about the editing process for the previous SK Learns episode. But in any case, this has been Skorsen. Hope you have a good day, and always remember to keep creating. Goodbye.